Bon dia, good morning. It's Lady Flo here. You guys, I have some tea, some deep tea for you to start your day with. So, Gyp here is holding a Barney. We've all seen this pig, but I think we've seen it so much we've overlooked something quite significant. This proves that Gyp was planning the unaliving way younger, way before 2011, and it's due to something that happened around this age. We just don't know exactly what yet. So let me zoom in real quick on her nails. This color here on Gypsy's nails, she's about 9 or 10. She's holding her Barney stuffed animal. Now, we all know that this Barney stuffed animal was by Dee's head, but let's compare this nail polish. So take a second and look at it. It's like a bright pink, but not hot pink. More mauve, but not purple. It's a very unique shade, actually. Like, I know many of you probably paint your nails. I don't have a color like this, and I have like hundreds of colors. Okay, so now let's compare it to her cop photo. Gyp has not a single chip on her nail polish. This is taken with a really bright profiling camera, and it's meant to capture the bruises on her hands, so it has a really bright flash. You can see she has bruises on her knuckles that are in the later stages or mid stages of healing. But they're definitely bruised knuckles. What was she punching with both fists? Right? To get a bruise like that on both hands, you'd have to be punching something really hard. So you're telling me girl painted her nails at 9 o'clock on June 9th. Hours later, her mom's unalived. And that Gypsy is there scrubbing the carpets. And girl doesn't have a single chip on her nail polish. Obviously, she painted her nails on June 9th and then kept refreshing it every time it got chipped or tarnished. Like, she wanted to make sure that this piece of the story stayed fresh for her as long as possible. So let's imagine you're Gyp and you've been planning this for a long time. Out of all the stuffed animals in your house, you've picked the one that's Barney because you know that when you were a child, you had this with you in a photo. And you also had these pink nails. So when you're planning the unaliving, you make sure that whether it was for sentimental reasons or revenge reasons, the nail polish is on your nails and the Barney stuffed animal is by your mom. Now, what's very interesting is it's around this age that you stop seeing as many photos with Gyp and her dad, Rod. So we've seen a lot of pictures with Rod when he's with Gypsy when she's younger. But then after this age of her, when she's holding this Barney, you don't see many photos of him with her at all because he kind of stops seeing her. Like at that point, Mia's older. He now has a son. He's already raising a family with Christy. He's out on the rigs too. Like he just wasn't investing the hour drive or 45 to an hour drive to go see her and take a photo with her, take her to lunch, take her to ice cream. Is this why Gypsy uses this in the plot? Or is it because of what she says her grandpa did to her around this age, around 9 or 10? She says that her grandpa molested her in a shed. So is that why? If so, obviously that's horrendous and awful. But Dee did not deserve to be unalived in such a horrendous way. And the Barney stuffed animal, why I can say that this is significant is let's take a look at this Barney stuffed animal. It had been by Dee's head. They'd obviously moved it to take the photograph. And because they had to move Dee, and they must have taken this photograph and numbered it afterward. But this was significant because this exact stuffed Barney was by Dee's head. The same Barney that was in that photograph. Now, if it was just the stuffed Barney, I'd think, okay, well, maybe she knows that this is one animal she had as a child. This is why she puts it by her mom. But it's the nail polish, guys. This little detail is what proves that Gypsy had an MO, that she had intent, and that the intent had ridiculous amount of layers to it. And it was such a level of planning. She calls herself a good planner, you guys. Does Gypsy ever say she's good at anything else? I mean, really? Does she repeatedly say, I'm a good friend? Or, what is her catchphrase? Her catchphrase is, I'm a good planner. That's her catchphrase. Like if she was a doll and it had a button and it had a catchphrase, that would be it. I'm a good planner. And then obviously there would be one about Ken, at least for now. It might be someone else next year. And right now she's holding this stuffed Barney with those same pink nails. What I think is really, really, really odd is she takes a bath in the evening around 8 to 9, like 8 to 8:30, texts Nick that she has, shaved her carpet areas and has painted her nails this pink color. And then as she's talking about what they're going to do to her mom and what's going to happen that night, like this was an active part of her planning, was getting these nails painted. Then we know that the mom's nails are painted. And I know that some of you were going to say, oh, well, it's because they watched a movie that night and they painted each other's nails. I can prove that that's absolutely BS. Because in the text messages, there's not a single text message when Gyp is taking a bath at 8:30 and then painting her nails at 9 and then texting Nick throughout about what she's going to do with their mom. And she's cutting duct tape and staging the house. And then she disappears. She does disappear from the phone for a minute. You can see her last text to Nick was at 11:25. And then she goes missing. And Nick sends her like 3 or 4 texts and there's nothing until finally at 1:08 she messages them back. She was gone for over an hour and 15 minutes. This is the part where she goes missing for a minute, but it's not to watch a movie with Dee. It's right at midnight. And then when she gets back on the phone, she's planning like, you're going to be here. We're going to unalive my mom. Not one time did she text Nick and say, sorry, hon, I got to go. Because, she'd always say sorry, but for like ridiculous things. She would be like, sorry, hon, I've got to go. I'm going to watch a movie with my mom. Not one time does she mention watching a movie with her mom. It's not until after the fact, when everyone realizes the mom's nails are painted fresh, that she says this. And knowing that Dee had a specific cut on her wedding ring finger where a ring is supposed to be, shows that there was a great emotion in Gyp when it came to her mom, the hands, the fingernails being painted, and something with the Rod and Dee relationship. If Gyp wanted to get revenge on what happened to her as a child with her grandpa, she could have done something to her mom in a shed, right? Or she could have done something to the grandpa. But instead, she does something to her mom and cuts her left wedding ring finger. Paints her nails the same color as hers, puts a stuffed Barney animal by Dee's head.